Hello everybody and welcome to another Nonsense Retrospective. I'm your host as always, Rick, and joining me equally as always is Devon.
Oh, we are no Bartholomew Mercer.
No, we're not. Not anywhere close. And a little disclaimer, today is a pre-recorded episode, as you can probably tell by the fact that we don't have our faces.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is basically a pre-recorded episode in case of dire mishap, so that we don't end up uploading two of our pre-recorded reviews in 1 week, which is what we had to do last time something bad happened.
It wasn't two in a row. We only had to use one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it was one pre-recorded and then the regular review that we did regularly the next day.
Take a shot every time you hear the word regular.
Yeah. But before we get too far into it, let's start with our time-honored tradition of the nonsense, asinine hypotheticals. And do you have one for me today?
You get to create a 2D animated sitcom. The cast, or the main characters, consist of two different D&D creatures. Both can speak English for the sake of the audience. Which two creatures do you pick because you want it to be a funny show?
Probably a goblin and a kobold.
Goblin and a kobold. That's going to end up in sex within episode 2. I don't know what it is with D&D players, but they find kobolds weirdly sexy.
I don't know why either, but yeah, they're both downtrodden small races of easily slaughterable level 1, well, monsters for level 1 players. Having them both having to band together, despite being from different tribes, I think that would make a pretty good sitcom.
I could imagine the goblin being played by someone doing a Rodney Dangerfield impression. I get no respect.
Yeah, and the kobold's got to be basically, what is it, Mei Hatsume, the tech genius tinkerer from Hero Academia.
Sure, if you
Something like that, just some kind of inventor. Because in their basic environments, kobolds are all about making traps out of everything, which, if you've got someone who's not a kobold living with you, is instant comedy.
But you could go that route, but the route I would have gone would have been like, again, Rodney Dangerfield goblin going, I get no respect, while bitching to his roommate, which is the kobold, who's just sat on the couch eating diamonds. Just listening to her
like popcorn, yeah.
Yeah, just listening to her roommate vent and then going, it's not too bad. Or some shit. I don't know where I'm going with this, but it's your fucking hypothetical.
Yeah, goblin and kobold, go. But yeah, my one for you is, do you have a fictitious food? A food from some kind of fiction that may or may not involve real creatures, real animals or whatever, that you want to try in real life?
That's a good question. That is a good question. I'm trying to think now, because unfortunately I've been playing Stardew Valley a lot.
Yep.
As a joke answer, I'd like to try a tree star from Land Before Time, even though it's just a leaf with water on it. You know what I mean? And probably not very good for a human, but there's my gag answer out the way. I don't know, there's so much crap.
Yeah, because there are entire cooking shows dedicated to bringing these things to life as best as they can.
Is there really? I'd sub to that.
Yeah, Binging with Babish tries to do it as often as he can.
Send me a link, because I'll check that out for sure, because that sounds fun.
Yeah, totally will.
I don't know, man. There's a lot to choose from. There is a lot to choose from.
Yeah, there is.
Like, there's Star Drops from Stardew Valley, which is the mega fruit you get that increases your health and stamina bar. So just imagine eating a piece of fruit and you're going to live longer just for eating it.
Yeah. It's like real life, except actually tangible.
I'd say Paupu fruit from potentially Kingdom Hearts, but I'm pretty sure that's a real fruit. Or at least based on a real fruit, you know what I mean?
Fair enough.
There's Sweet Gem Berries, which is again from Stardew. There's a lot of shit there's 2 things in Stardew. 3 things if you count the ancient fruits. Man, I'm going on a bit of a tangent, but fuck. I'm trying to think of an animal I'd like to kill and eat. But it's...
That giant fucking egg from Mandalorian.
That looks gross, though.
Yeah. Make an omelette out of it.
Oh, no. It was like green and slimy. It might have been a rotten one.
One thing that Binging with Babish actually did make from Mando was bone broth.
Ew.
You know, the one that they gave the child early on.
Yeah, but bone broth's just a real thing anyway.
Yeah, it's like soup made from bone. And
yeah, it's what poor people eat. I know, I was poor.
Good old consomme. Clear soup, go.
But don't forget, meatloaf was just, there's a bunch of shit in the fridge we need to get rid of, and we're poor. Let's just bang it in with
fry it, go.
Yeah, that's all it fucking is. And then you got gourmet restaurants trying to sell it, and it's like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, that's the thing. Any local specialty cuisine is just what the poor people threw together because that's all that grew there.
Yeah, it's like bubble and squeak.
Yeah, and sauerkraut.
Yeah.
How do I get all this cabbage to stay not rotten?
Yeah, but yeah, like the Bubble and Squeak. I remember watching a show where one of the gourmet restaurants' ideas was all we serve is Bubble and Squeak, and it's like you're selling poor people food for 20 quid a pop. You can fuck off.
Yeah,
But yeah. What was the question?
It's if you could have some fictitious food, what would it be? And you've given a fair few fictitious fruits.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of actual dishes. You know, like I can't say the curries from Pokemon because you could make that in real life. I can't say
it can be something real. Like it can be something real that's from fiction and looks really good in fiction, and you know maybe not as instantly available here all the time.
Maybe so, because the dango they make in Monster Hunter is always appetizing.
It looks so fluffy and sticky and squishy, doesn't it? Though, like they've even got a whole song about it. That's how much attention they bring to the dango.
Yeah, it's good shit. It's good shit. Something fictitious I'd like to eat. Yeah.
Well, in fiction, it doesn't have to be fictitious.
Ina. Oh, she's never going to hear this. It's fine.
Forbidden jelly.
I don't want forbidden jelly. You know what joke I was making.
Yeah. Yeah, but apparently she would go mental on anyone who wanted to actually squish her hair, even though it does look very squishy.
I'd like to give her a kiss on her giant forehead.
Yeah.
I bring it up all the time, and I know I do, but fucking playing noughts and crosses on Ina's head and then her getting only slightly annoyed.
Yeah. I think when they started playing chess is when she went, "Hey, knock it off."
Maybe so. I just remember the noughts and crosses. Yeah, I want to eat a Taurus.
A Taurus?
Yeah, it's just steak and chips made out of Taurus, and it's ethical because I wouldn't be breaking my no beef rule technically. You know.
Minotaur steak.
Oh God! Honestly, a lot of the bar food they have in Interspecies Reviewers looks fucking great. And that's what I'll do. That's what I do. Okay, I've got it. Fictitious thing from fiction I like to do. I'd like to go to that fucking bar and grill where you cook your food on the
on the salamander grill. Yeah.
And then, unlike fucking Stunk and the idiots, I'd buy a fucking potion of heat resistance so I could fuck her afterwards.
Yeah. Except the problem is, well, it's probably not even that much of a problem. It's probably made from Crim's essence.
That's fine. I don't care.
Yeah.
It's worth it to fuck that salamander lady.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Right, we got there in the end. How long did that take? Let's have a look. About 10 minutes.
We're 10 minutes in, but the first couple of minutes was me moaning about dragons before we started.
We'll get to that, I suppose. Rick, what are we doing today?
Today, we're going to talk about the ins and outs of the monster manual. We're talking about D&D creatures, the weird, the wonderful, hopefully the funny.
Yes. Rick disheartened me when he told me his first two picks ages ago.
Yeah, my first two picks were Beholders and Dragons.
And I was like, yeah, that's really out there. Good fuck, yeah, real obscure, buddy.
But the first thing on my list is actually liches.
Okay, still pretty fucking generic for a villain, but...
It is, but their use as villains in the modern sense comes from D&D. Because before that, lich was just the word for a corpse.
Okay.
They have corpses that are zombies that are intelligent in fiction before that, but it wasn't until the 70s that Gygax elevated it to being the modern status of being a fuck with the constant string of actually caveats, like having the phylactery that, oh, you killed me, oh, but actually I'm not dead, I'm going to come back in a day.
But here's the thing, though, is my favourite thing about Gygax is pretty much every D&D fan ever has come to the consensus of he was a DM, he invented his game, or had a hand in inventing the game. I forget how much he actually did personally, and essentially he had fun with it, and he got really fucking annoyed with his players, and that's why we have liches and beholders, and oh look, is that a Tarasque?
Yeah. Yeah, basically, yeah, Tomb of Annihilation, Tomb of Horrors is Gygax's fuck you dungeon because his players were too good and getting through everything too easily and complaining that everything was too easy. So he put this dungeon full of fuck you traps, including 2 fake entrances that kill you, a demi-lich halfway through that if it doesn't kill you, then it reveals that it's not actually the final boss. Rocks fall, everyone dies, except they don't. There's the second half of the dungeon to do. Which I'm pretty sure he made up on the spot when they realised, oh, that was easy. And yeah, there's another lich at the end, which, you know, his phylactery isn't nearby, so even if they do kill him, he is coming back, narratively at least.
Here's the thing about D&D, and you'll probably agree with me on this, Rick, because you're one of my regular players.
Yeah.
When I play D&D, I approach it as it's not DM versus players, it's DM and players versus the problem, or
totally.
rather DM and players creating a cohesive story together. And
yeah, the DM is the arbitrator rather than the opponent.
Yeah.
Right? It just so happens that the DM also controls the actions of the villains, but the villains' motivations are already baked into their characters.
Essentially, yeah. It's like, I'm never going to outright try and kill people, so much so that with my most recent campaign, things have been incredibly easy, and I've gone, okay, I need to step things up, because at the moment there has actually not been a real threat.
I'm not trying to kill you, the Mind Flayer's trying to kill you.
I don't like Mind Flayers, so I tend to not use them, but it's one of those, like, if an enemy looks fun, I will look for any excuse to throw them in a campaign, which is great, because we're doing this podcast, and...
Yeah.
Well, in my campaign, everyone knows what the main villain is, because we've already fought them several times. We're doing Storm King's Thunder?
Yes, yeah, Storm King's Thunder. Like, the front cover is a big blue giant who might be the Storm King, and he might be doing thunder.
Yeah, except the reason, in case you're wondering why I hesitated on that last word, I've misnamed that in all of the things I've made for the group into Storm King's Terror.
Yeah.
And I think I managed to change it on Discord, because it lets you change the names, but it doesn't let you change the name on Roll20, so...
No. Well, it's okay, you can have that as your personal version of it. Like, the reason that it's called that and not anything else is because you named it that.
True.
So it separates it from any other Roll20 server that other people might be in that are just another Storm King's Thunder one.
That's fair.
Because yours is the Terror one.
Yeah! But yeah, liches, fuck them.
Yep, fuck them all the way. Apart from the one in Konosuba, she is incredibly cute and needs a hug.
Konosuba? Oh, that's the fucking aqua thing, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
The lich in that is a incredibly well-endowed shopkeeper who doesn't look like a lich at all, but apparently she's very cool to the touch.
Okay.
Yep.
I might encounter a lynch in my fucking Sucker for Love thing when I eventually play it.
Maybe. I'm not going to say too much about it because I've watched Bay play the whole thing.
Yeah, we'll talk about Romancing Cthulhu on another day.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever heard of a Nilbog?
It actually sounds vaguely familiar, but go on.
It's goblin spelt backwards.
Oh, no, I didn't know that's what that was. I thought it was the type of beetle. Go on.
Okay. The challenge rating 1, they have 7 health.
Okay.
They're pretty close to invincible.
Go on.
Damage heals them. They reduce all damage to 0 and gain HP every time it happens. To kill it, you basically need a death effect that's not damage, and even then, the Jester Spirit that makes the goblin into a Nilbog would just jump onto another goblin.
So here's a question. Who really got fed up of having their goblins die easy?
Yeah, exactly.
Is this
the Jester Spirit?
Is this official or is this a homebrew?
Yeah, it's in Volo's Guide to Monsters.
That's fucking unreal. How do you kill it?
Socially. You just don't kill it. The idea is the Nilbog is meant to...
I know what this is.
It's a haunt and taunt.
This is a motherfucker who had a table full of murder hobos all the time.
Yep.
And was like, I'm going to teach you fuckers a lesson.
Yeah, so he just gives them Goblin Kefka.
Oh, fuck off. That was a pretty good impression, though. You even put the fucking shitty chip effect on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're little fucks, and just like the Archdemon from Dragon Age, the spirit jumps to the nearest goblin.
Oh shit, can that affect a party member?
If it's a goblin, yes.
Yeah, well, I know you can have goblin as a race.
Yeah, you can.
But yeah, that could be an interesting roleplay thing. Accidentally give your fucking...
Nilbogism.
Turn one of your fucking player characters into Moon Knight.
Yeah, give them Nilbogism, make them fucking... that's a really good way to make them into a warlock, actually.
Yeah,
man.
No.
Cool idea.
No, bad, you have a character.
I mean, it is a cool idea, but I'm not abandoning my Forge Mama.
Let's move on.
The unreasonably buff elf. Yeah, let's shall. Beholders are fucking weird.
They are. I love the fact that because I'll be honest with you, the only book I've read in preparation for this is the bog standard monster manual.
Yeah.
And it specifies that every single beholder is 100% unequivocally racist and believes itself to be the master race, and that includes other beholders because every beholder is a slightly different color.
Yeah, every beholder is a different being to them, and therefore cannot possibly be as perfect as they are.
Yep. Can we talk about the one that leads the Thieves Guild?
Yeah, Zanathar. He's the titular character of the Zanathar's Guide to Everything player book. He's even more insane and paranoid than usual. He's in charge of the underworld in Waterdeep, and he loves his goldfish.
I love that so much.
Every time his goldfish dies, the Syndicate flies into full-blown panic meme until an identical goldfish can be found.
Jesus, I don't blame them. Beholders are scary.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, because they're basically I'd say they're probably the single most recognizable, copyrightable original character in D&D. They're floating cyclopean meatballs with a mouth and tentacles, and the tentacles have extra eyes.
And their design is so cool, I went out of my way to buy a figure and paint one.
Yeah. Yeah, the eyes can shoot freaking laser beams, and the big eye has a big anti-magic cone that completely fucks any caster.
Yes.
And in the right circumstances, it's a kind of a cool obstacle to overcome, and sometimes it can be part of a gimmick fight, you know?
Yep.
Like, we got a beholder and you've got a lich, and they're both trying to kill you, but if you point the beholder at the lich, then the lich doesn't work.
Yeah, but then you still got to find phylacteries first.
Yeah.
But yeah, the thing about beholders as well is they're not a complete fuck you to the player, in that if a mean DM had access to a beholder, they could just go, oh yeah, ray of extermination, and it burns your character to dust, so they can't even be revived, or whatever the fuck the exact name is, I forget. They've got like 12 different ones. But,
yeah, there's like disintegration beams and all that shit.
That's the one I'm thinking of. And they have it in the rule book that they can only use 3 beams per turn, but and they all have to be different, and also there's RNG to it, so you can't just go turn them all to dust, hate my players. You know? Yeah,
they've basically got the similar ruling to what players have with the prismatic spells, and that you just roll and see what they do, and they just go mental and just do things.
I do like the implication that each of the eyes is in charge of a beam at a time, and they're constantly arguing who gets to fucking fire theirs.
Who gets the brain cell? Yeah.
But yeah, they're very fun. They also have I don't know if it's technically undead, but there's the slightly harder version of the beholder that's just a fucking floating skull.
Yeah, this is the Death Tyrant. Instead of anti-magic, it anything that it kills, it instantly revives as its own little zombie dude.
Oh, that's bad.
So it's easier for mages to fight until it kills them, and then the mage is fighting the party.
Yes. Yes. Hey, who likes fireball now, fuckface?
Yeah, better use them all first.
Unless dying and coming back to life counts as a long rest. I think I'd fucking play it that way, because that's dumb.
Is eternal rest a long rest? No. They can reproduce 2 ways, one of which is the physical way. They vomit out the egg sac and then can never give birth again.
Fair.
And the other way is if they have a dream. If they dream about themselves, they get a perfect clone of themselves that just pops into being because they're reality warpers. And if they dream about any other beholder, they see them as lesser, so a little beholderkin like a gazer just pops out.
I do like gazers, though.
Yeah.
It's a great little concept for like a low-level party, to just give them a taste of what fuck you the DM can bring out if they hate you.
Yeah, I had a party member one time who had one as a familiar, and it just kept spouting fucking conspiracy theories to the party.
That's fucking great. I love it.
So they gave it a tinfoil hat for all of its little eyes, so it only had to see out of one of them.
Yeah, fair enough, man.
But yeah, so yeah, that's pretty much it for beholders from me.
Yeah, it's one of the... I'll just go out on my way and say it's one of the cards I really wanted from the...
the D&D Magic set.
Yeah, and I got the full art thing, which is just a little fun little thing, which has the fucking very much Cliff Notes version of their D&D profile on the back. And I also got the actual card itself. It's called a Baleful Beholder, and it's not the most powerful thing in the world, but I don't care. It's a beholder, and I wanted it.
Yeah. Devils, demons, Yugoloths, Rakshasa, and Night Hags are all your fiends, but they try to really go to great lengths to separate devils from demons. Cubi, like incubi and succubi, they're neutral. They don't align themselves with any of the 3 factions of the whole, but they will serve any strong enough infernal. There's even an angel, Zariel. She fell from being an angel by wanting to kill demons so much that she willingly became a fallen angel, and then eventually an archdevil.
In order to kill them better.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very interesting, isn't it? Because whenever we get the myth of a fallen angel, it's always the character's name is always an anagram of Azazel.
Yeah. Or Azrael or something like that. Yeah, but it's something with an EL on, because that's what all the Hebrew angel names are.
Man, do we have, I'm not sure if we do or not, because there's not that actual many Celestials in the Monster Manual, but I wonder if we have biblically accurate angels in any Monster Manual somewhere.
I think they do have some of them at least. Like there's like Solars and Planetars, and like I don't know if they've got the like Wheel of Eyes thing going on, but they do have like different ranks of them. The reason they don't tend to print them in Monster Manuals is because most parties are good aligned fighting evil things, so there's not a lot of demand for evil parties to fight good things.
Yeah, and I suppose at the end of the day you could always just fucking reflavor a devil.
Yeah. The problem that actually arises is that if there's not the diversity in the manual, then if you have a summon spell, there's not a lot of things you can summon with it.
Fair.
Like, they solved that in Pathfinder by giving a lot of emphasis on any type that has a summon spell. So if you want to summon a Celestial, you'll be able to summon a level 2 one, a level 5 one, level 10 one, whatever. But
that's some SMT shit.
Yeah. The different SMT families. Oh, this is the Tower Arcana. Oh no, that's Persona.
No, it's like fucking Fiends and Divine are the two obvious ones to go to because I can't remember. Sort of like Ushi and Ennie. I'm making words up, but it's along those lines, like gibberish.
Yeah.
It's probably not gibberish if you're in Japan.
True. And any infernal that's killed outside of its home plane just goes back to its home plane.
Yeah, we touched on this when we did our normal D&D talk.
Yeah, it's bullshit. And night hags they've stopped being Fae because they've become so evil they're not even Fae anymore. And if you piss one off, you've got an enemy for life, whether it's yours or hers, whichever ends first. They're incredibly vengeful. They'll stalk you, they'll haunt your dreams, and they will just be there, invisible. And if you can see the invisibility, then they'll just go into the ethereal plane and be a bitch about it.
It's one way of putting it, I guess.
And if they can't kill you, they'll just kill your loved ones and just ruin your life instead.
Oh, that's okay. 9/10 out of fucking Dungeons and Dragon parties are murder hobos anyway.
Yeah, just convenient super orphans who have no connection to anything apart from tenuously to other players.
This person bought me a drink one time. I will now die for them.
Yep. Oh, and touching on Fae, don't do a deal with a Fae.
Don't give them your name.
They win even more than devils. At least a devil will offer you a contract, and while the small print might be in 10 languages you aren't expected to understand, it's still there plain as day. Fae are fucks, even the good ones. Saying something like, "We would be happy to help in this endeavour," might leave you unable to feel any positive emotion when doing anything else until that quest is complete.
Yeah, it's weird. Fae are basically like traditional genies in that a traditional genie will take your wish, but because they're fucking butthurt little pricks, they will do it in the most literal way possible to try and dick you over. Like, you might want to say, "I want a dick that touches the floor." "Oh, you've lost your legs."
Yep.
Like that sort of thing.
Or you just have an additional dick. Like you turn your hand into a penis. Oh, well, okay. Your toe is a knob.
Yeah, that could happen. That would be fucked. But yeah. Fae are fuckers. Can I throw one in now?
Yeah, of course you can.
I want to bring up the lovable little creature known as an Ettercap.
Ah, yeah.
You might remember these things because I threw a bunch of them at the party a while ago now. They look really cute, but in the most weird way possible.
Yeah.
And they're basically spider creatures, but with humanoid forms. And also the artwork for them, they're purple, and they look squishy, and I want to hug one. But yeah, they're rather, like, the challenge rating 2, they're not that impressive. But, at lower levels, they're going to fuck your day up and probably teach you to be careful around anything that looks spiderish.
Yeah, totally. Like, low level is no joke. Like, it's rocket tag. Like, you can do a decent amount of damage, but things that are meant for a low level party will kill you.
Yes.
You don't have the health pool to just tank some acid to the face at this point yet.
It's like one of the things I do at higher levels just to test the waters to make sure the party knows what they're doing in combat is I don't throw things challenge rating appropriate at them. Case in point, with this, I sent... the party was like level 6.
Yeah.
I threw about 7 Ettercaps at you just to sort of test the waters, but there was also like other things in the dungeon but in different places.
Like, if you add them up, it's the correct encounter, but the other thing is, if you can divide and conquer is like a big thing of tactics. If the DM decides to send things in waves, then it's kind of like having multiple separate encounters, so you can kind of gauge your resource usage a little bit better, and it feels less like everyone focusing on one guy,
Mm-hmm. Although you gave me credit in that encounter for sending them in waves. I didn't even do that. I had them act on initiative count after the trap got triggered.
Sure.
Which just so happened that they got killed quickly enough or tangled up in encounters quick enough that it sort of gave the illusion that it was a bit more broken up than it actually was.
Yeah, but that's still, like, even if they start further away and use their actions to move in, then that's still fine. That's still kind of like soft waves, because you start with a few. If you do nothing about them and then there's more, then that's basically what happens when a wave comes. There just are more guys. If you dealt with them, then there's now the same number as there were before, and they're fresh, but you've shown that you're able to deal with them.
Yeah, I get you. Also, one of our party members was off collecting rocks at the time.
Yeah. Unfortunate. But in character.
Yeah. Like, in hindsight, I should have just like popped another one on the map and just had them deal with it on their own, which they could have done easily.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked. That was my first edition. I only have 4 to make. I will space them out evenly.
You can add a couple in soon as well, actually, because I'm more than halfway through my list now.
Oh, okay. We're going through lists a lot quicker than I thought we were.
Yeah. I thought we were going to take a little bit longer on this, but yeah.
We spent a long time on a beholder and liches.
Yeah, we did.
It's not like we've been like rushing through them.
Yeah. Like, my beholder paragraph is the same size as my lich paragraph, but most of the lich paragraph was bitching at Gygax for putting all these actually clauses into what his lich does.
Yeah. Like, hey, just for the record, my first knowledge of Gygax even being a human being was because of Futurama.
Ah, yeah.
Here, take my +2 mace, which sounds really crap, but it's actually really good.
Yeah, here's the thing, like, in a good system with numbers that scale properly, +1 and +2 should actually be massively impactful. Unfortunately, in 5th Ed, numbers got so stupid that you can even have +5s in things, like, very easily, just on your items, before anything else that you did with your stupid character.
Yeah.
Like, there was a spell, Glibness, it gave you a +30 to all of your charisma stuff.
That's dumb.
Yeah, and enemies were written as if glibness didn't exist, so they all fell for it. You could just convince someone that they didn't exist, and then they'd be like, oh, okay, I'm just going to spend the rest of my life having an existential crisis.
But that's the reason why I say that's dumb is, as a DM, I can make you roll, regardless of whether you have a +30 or not. And I can just, like, in order to make the game actually be a game and not just you do everything you want because, you know, numbers, I can just be like, cool, you rolled a 19, which gives you a total of 49. You needed a 50, buddy. Do you know what I mean?
It was a DC 50. DC 50 to convince God, yeah.
Like, I let people roll on everything, you know?
Yeah.
But
it's a suggestion that's reasonable, yeah.
But sometimes in my brain, like, I know I used to clash with one person in particular where they'd be like, I want to do this, can I roll for it? And I'd be like, no, because no matter what they rolled, it wasn't going to work. But then they'd be like, well, I think blah, blah. And it's just like, we can have this conversation, but it's one of us has to yield and it's not going to be me. You know?
Like, there's a thing, like, when something isn't going to work at all, then there shouldn't be a roll for it.
It's also not even that. Sometimes it's like, if this, like, it could in theory succeed, right? However, me as the DM, knowing how the rest of the session is planned out and laid out and things are prepared for, if this succeeds, the game stops for today. Yeah. There's also that element of it. Because we play via Roll20, I can't just pull maps up on the fly. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Tangent aside.
Tangents are expected in a D&D chat, you know?
Happens during games more often than not, and all.
Oh, totally. But yeah, here's the thing, like, even though we're talking about the monster manual and some select monsters, we are just going to talk a little bit about D&D in general, you know? These things happen.
Yep.
There is an entire god of mushrooms.
Oh, is he the one who created the mushrooms from Dark Souls?
Maybe so.
Those fuckers can pack a punch.
Yeah, like, there's an entire god of, like, mushrooms and, like, kind of rot, kind of decay, but overall, if you have a myconid, an entire creature type myconids of mushroom people, they're probably going to be worshipping this god in some form. And I just thought it was cute that there's an entire god of just mushrooms.
I mean, you say that, but, like, if you look at Greek mythology, Roman mythology, or even Egyptian mythology, they had gods for everything.
Oh, yeah, totally. Like, mythology in general, like, it's called mythology now because it's in the past, but at the time it was religion. Religion is all about trying to bring sense to a weird and senseless world.
Yeah.
Like, if you can explain it in some way through, well, we call it myth, then you can kind of compartmentalize things into the back of your head and just move on with your life.
Well, it's also like, how terrifying is death?
Oh, totally.
Becomes less terrifying when, when you die, if you're a good person, this happens.
Yeah.
Also, how many people do you think got cajoled into not doing evil shit because if you're a bad person, this happens?
Well, apparently there wasn't a heaven until relatively recently.
I'm not talking about heaven. Like in Greek mythology, if you did good and glorious deeds, you go to Elysium, the Elysium Fields.
Oh, yeah.
If you don't, you're locked away in Tartarus. Like, it wasn't called heaven and hell, but there was always a good afterlife and a bad afterlife.
Yeah, and apparently in some Christian mythologies, Elysium is the top circle of hell. It's the least hellish hell there is, but you're still separated from God.
Right. Well, yeah, because in Christian or Judeo-Christian mythology, I should say, I say mythology, not religion, fuck you. I know the deepest recesses of hell is reserved for traitors, basically.
Yeah.
Because that's worse than rape, apparently.
Apparently so. Like, traitor to your country is something that, can fell a country, whereas it just shows how misogynistic they were back in the day.
Oh, your child is born with a vagina. It's useless.
Oh, man.
That's religion saying that, not me. Fucking hell, don't come at me with the pitchforks.
Oh, man. Hello, Clippers.
We don't have those. We're fine. Although there was a period of time when I clipped our own shit for the grand total of 2 videos until I got bored. Well, actually, no. I used to upload them on a Wednesday, and now that's non-stop. So,
Yeah, true. Although I have sent a couple of them to people as, like, mini ads,
What, me going off on a tirade about John Wick, or
Cold Steel the Hedgehog.
Yeah. Yeah, oh, God bless Cold Steel. Man, I wish I had the ability to see far into the future where bits of random bullshit internet lore is just taken as gospel. Because that's all that a fucking mythology kind of, not mythology, but religion kind of is. It's like, oh, this happened, so we must worship it. And you just got people worshipping shrines to the Pikachu O-face. Could you fucking imagine?
Worshipping shrines to the Pikachu O-face.
And they're at constant war with the fucking Cold Steel the Hedgehog people.
Yeah. And the arbitrators are Doge.
Yeah, don't worry. Our Lord and Saviour will come down from the heavens and bless us with Dogecoin once more.
Yeah. And if you're too naughty, you get bonked.
You go to horny jail, which is just what they call hell now.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ. That's a terrifying future, and yet I kind of want to see it.
Internet horny jail, yeah. But yeah, getting slightly back on track. There's a playable race of flying spaghetti monsters. They're called flumps.
Fuck you! We got one! We got a crossover!
Yeah!
I got my little sentence on the flumps, and that is they look like weird jellyfish.
Yeah, they do. So they've got like they're kind of like jellyfish with tentacles. They float around. They're lawful good.
I've got that written down as well.
Yeah. They float around the Underdark and
they're bioluminescent, so they can help guide your way.
Yeah, Githyanki hate them and destroy them on sight.
What the fuck are they?
They are the extraplanar guys who are evil, as opposed to the Githzerai, which are kind of goodish.
Fair enough.
I believe they live in the Astral Sea, and if they see someone who's exploring the Astral Sea, one thing that you have when you're exploring through astral projection is you've got a little red cord, which is meant to signify an airline if you were in a spacesuit.
Yep, gotcha.
And it's your line back to your soul.
Yep.
They have these silver swords that are designed specifically to cut through those lines.
Oh, so they're proper dickheads.
Yeah.
Yeah. I only have one more note on a flump.
Yep.
And that is, in the monster manual, there's a little snippet that is a bit of the number one. It says the number one rule for dungeon survival is simply this: trust a flump.
Yep.
If you see one in your encounter, or your DM puts one in your game, you should probably follow it.
Yep. Man, wouldn't it be awful if there was some kind of creature that could basically be an anglerfish?
Yeah, as soon as you started talking, my brain was like, he's going to say anglerfish.
Yeah. Anglerfish is one of my go-to things that I think about in times like this. Like, horny men are very easily anglerfished by booby.
I said this in our last fucking retrospective in the Sentai show, but I'm dating this, sorry. But of like, I would join Root Repulsor and say, hey, you want an army of teenagers? Wear a bikini for 5 minutes, we'll take some photos, and there we go, we've recruited like all of the teenage boys.
Yeah, just have an evil car wash weekend, go.
And if they're gay, we get Goldar, we put him in a thong, and...
it just contributes to the evil car wash weekend. Everyone's here.
Because, like, I know I'm wrong on this, but it feels like men are hornier than women. And I know there's women out there who are just as horny as men. I'm not excluding you. You're welcome to join the chat. Send me your DMs. And, but, you know, it's definitely very easy to fucking trick men with sex.
Yep.
Because we're idiots, and we have 2 heads, and we only have enough blood to supply 1.
Yeah, it's not the top head's time to use the brain cell.
That's an old joke, but I do love it. Blood supply to supply 1 head.
Yep.
I've got a really misogynistic joke in my head, but I'm gonna not say it.
As long as it's the correct head, yeah, you can keep it there. Gelatinous cubes.
Okay, I didn't have this on my list, but I was contemplating it. Go ahead.
They're pretty iconic in that they are literally a cube that is gelatinous. But as a low-level creature, they're actually pretty fucking dangerous.
Is this not probably the first creature you'll need to be actual careful what weapon you use to fight it? Most people encounter anyway. Not encounter this and slimes.
Yeah, there are things that are lower level than it that are slightly more dangerous, slightly more invincible to the wrong party. But this guy, if you hit it with a weapon, then you are in striking distance of being eaten.
Yeah, it's got an attack that is literally just moves forward slightly. Oh, if you fuck up your save, you're inside it and it's made of acid.
Yeah, like you've got a limited amount of time before it just digests you. Just based on sheer amount of damage that it does by being made of acid. Like, I'm pretty sure if it rolls high, the only person that can survive is a max health barbarian.
Possibly. Also, just to emphasize how fucked these creatures are, pretty much every single artwork of this type of creature has either bones or armor just floating around in it, which, you know, it's one of those of, how do you like to phrase it, Wick? The story unspoken.
Yeah, the tale untold. Like, you can see the story in the picture, and another one is when they show a fully, like, fleshy arm.
I've never seen that myself, because...
Okay, the idea is, the fleshy arm is poking out, and as soon as it touches the cube, it's bone.
Yeah, no, I get where you were going.
Yeah, and, they're rather dangerous. Apparently, they live in hill giant caves.
Yeah, they're like real life Roombas.
Yeah. The hill giants don't like them, but they tolerate them because it means that they can keep living in the same cave without it filling up with shit.
Yeah. Like, it's not pleasant, but that's literally the reason.
Yeah.
Like, that might actually be a good way for, like, Waterdeep to, like, do a sewer system. It's like all the toilets just have gelatinous cubes in them. Like, you'll have to find a way to sort of, like, stop the cube from moving, but you just fucking shit and piss straight into it and it just takes care of it.
Yeah.
Boy, that's someone's fucking fetish fuel, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, they'd be better at the bottom of the sewer system, you know, rather than...
Yeah, but the problem there is...
in every house.
The problem
because in every house, like, dogs like to drink out of toilets. If they try and drink out of a gelatinous cube, then they're not going to have a good time.
Well, this is why I said there's got to be something to sort of keep it from... You got to have something to prevent splashback, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Could you imagine taking a shit and then just going, oh, skin! Oh, skin is gone!
Yeah.
Oh, you're laughing very much at that, because it was funnily worded, because it's me. Haha, stroke my ego. But also, that's fucked, man.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Absolutely. Like, I'm not going to say the thing I was going to say because it's personal information about a person that I know.
Yeah,
so
keep it to yourself.
Let's go. Let's move on.
Can I interject my third monster?
Yes, of course you can.
Because you brought up Flumps, so that took one away from me. Here's a cute little critter. We call them Intellect Devourers.
Oh, yes.
I was expecting more of it. Okay.
Oh, yes. Yeah. They're one of very few creatures that do stat damage. If they reduce your stat to 0, you are dead.
Lovely.
They basically do direct damage to your intelligence score.
Yeah, they're literally brains with legs. That's pretty much what they are. And they look weird. They're not cute in any way like the Eticaps or the Flumps. However, the reason why I want to bring them up is Mind Flayers keep them as guard dogs, and I find that precious.
Oh, that's cute, actually, yeah.
Which also makes sense, because they are basically just canine versions of Mind Flayers.
Now that you brought them up a little bit, one other thing that does do stat damage is a shadow.
Okay.
It does damage to your strength, and bringing it back back slightly, they're an incredibly dangerous combo alongside Gelatinous Cubes.
Yeah, because isn't it a strength check for some things?
Yeah, it's a strength check to get out of it. If your strength is drained, you're not getting out of it. And also, they're not corporeal, so they can just haunt a cube and just be able to just do what they like with living people, as the cube just takes care of the rest.
I feel like you've given some people ideas.
Yep. But yeah, stat damage is a shit.
Yeah,
I think there was a disease in the past in old editions that did constitution damage, but it also raised your strength for every constitution that it drained.
That's a weird fucking disease.
It was basically you were consuming yourself from the inside out and turning yourself into Hulk Smash. And the idea was that normal people would die when their constitution hit 0. However, there was one class that made it so you didn't suffer the negative effects of disease. So every day you got like +2 strength cumulatively, and the longer you lived, the more of a Hulk Smash rage mage you became.
Yeah, except by the same token, I'm pretty sure the max any stat can be naturally is 30.
In this edition, yes, but in that edition, it was infinite.
Well, that's
it was dumb.
In which case, you as a DM go, no. Yeah. Like, I'm all for dumb shit, but not dumb shit that breaks the game.
Yeah, there was a combo in 3rd ed called Pun Pun, and it was a kobold that at level 1 could achieve godhood.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, but didn't kobolds, they might still have a rule where if they don't believe something, then it can't affect them. So like kobolds, the joke someone made on D&D memes was a kobold going up to a human and going, "Hey, do you want to see what I can do?" The human's just like, "Okay," and the kobold just thinks really, really, really hard, and then the sun gets blotted out by clouds. And what that is if kobolds believe hard enough, then then negative effects don't afflict them, and they're weak to the sun. So yeah. If a kobold thinks hard enough about it, they can get rid of the sun.
Yeah, that's really cute.
The comic's cute, however, it's dumb, and I wouldn't allow it as a DM, because that would have unforetold catastrophe upon the world.
Yep. I threatened to talk about dragons.
Okay, I'm gonna go sleep.
They have their colours. Touched a bit more of it last time, but Io became Bahamut and Tiamat. Bahamut good, Tiamat bad. Tiamat squats in hell, enjoys all the privilege of being an archdevil due to her sheer strength, even having become a fiend herself, and because of that, dragons are evil unless they're shiny. And then they re-released gem dragons, which are psychic, which I think is neat. It's a bit asinine that psychic powers and magic are different things, but I kind of get it from a nerd standpoint.
I guess. I don't go to those places.
But, you know, it's kind of cool that you can have, like, an emerald dragon that does psychic things that are kind of related to green and, I guess, copper dragons. But, yeah, it's cool that there's now a thing for that. I don't think they've got a god. There might be a god, but I don't care.
Talking about dragons and different colours, I shared this in our group chat of the meme of the security guys looking at a chart of colours for skin colours, or whether to let them into the country or not. Except they changed it to kill on sight, not kill on sight for dragons, and it goes from like red down to black. Black you don't want to fuck with; they will kill you on sight, but if you're in their territory.
Yeah.
And then you've also got brass dragons pretty much at the top that are always just like, "What the fuck are you? Hello, I'm your friend now."
Yeah, I really like silver dragons. They really appreciate when people are heroic, and they will do all they can to help them. But they have short attention spans, and by the time they remember that someone is their friend, they probably died of old age multiple generations ago.
Maybe so, although there is currently a running meme on the D&D meme subreddit, because I go there, and of the best waifu to have in that setting is a silver dragon.
Okay.
In order to combat murder hobos that like to just literally just stab everyone, because fuck it, I guess. I really don't know the motivation behind those characters. You have the barman be a normal barman, and the party takes their weapons out, and then he screams, and his wife comes running in, and she goes, "What's up, honey? We're getting robbed," and then she turns into a silver dragon.
Yep.
Because no one fucks with her, man.
No. Well, even a chromatic dragon that has actual attachments are still just as credible as an ally to someone. Because, green dragons are all about deception. They're compulsive liars. However, they're still dragons. If they are your friend, it's probably because you put up with their shit.
Yeah.
I remember when they first released the Lost Mines of Phandelver, the D&D set, basic set for 5th Ed. They fulfilled the basics of there is a dungeon and there is a dragon and you can fight the dragon, but you probably don't want to.
Yeah.
We tried to trick it into going elsewhere. So what did it do? It tried to trick us into making it think it had gone elsewhere. It sat on top of its house and waited for us to exit and burped on us.
Fair.
Yeah, I was the only survivor from that fight because I told them all that it was a bad idea and I ran.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, that's pretty much it about dragons. I don't want to dwell too much on it because, before we started, I bitched about dragons.
Yep.
There are entire videos going into the life, lore, and lifespan of an entire subsection of dragons. Like, you can have like a 45-minute video on just iron dragons, but oh well.
If we did that, I would kill.
Yeah. So let's not.
But seeing as we're on dragons, it does give me a segue to my final creature on my list.
Sure.
We're going to talk about the Tarasque.
That's my last creature too.
Well, the only reason I wanted to use it as my segue from dragons is it's the only creature in the monster manual, apart from Tiamat herself, that has a challenge rating of 30.
Yes.
It looks scary as hell, but according to D&D subreddits, it's a punk bitch compared to previous incarnations of the creature.
Compared to previous incarnations of itself, yes. But it's still the yardstick. If your character can beat a Tarasque, then it's OP. If your party can beat a Tarasque, then they are probably very well optimized around beating a Tarasque. If your entire civilization can survive a Tarasque, then they were incredibly well prepared.
Well, I looked at the stat block very temporarily. I don't have anything written in front of me specifically, but I do remember it basically being immune to magic.
Yeah.
It's like if it gets hit by a magic attack on a roll a d6 on a 1 to 5, it doesn't do anything. On a roll of a 6, it bounces it back at you.
Yep.
So it really looks quite tough to kill.
Yeah. Someone pointed out that when creatures have spines, it's normally as a defense mechanism against predators.
Yes.
Tarasque has spines.
Yes, but by the same logic, creatures that have eyes on the side of its head are usually prey, and all dragons have eyes on the side of the head, as well as the Tarasque.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where you can't apply real life biology to fucking made up fictional creatures, you pricks.
Yeah, they're all based on dinosaurs, so oh well.
Like literally in my notes, I've just got like a Tarasque looks like a very scary dinosaur. Also, it looks like a kaiju that would instantly get fucked up by Godzilla.
Yep. I've got this in my notes that it's another actually creature that struggles to be killed. Canonically, whenever you kill it, it just goes to sleep until next time.
Like a kaiju.
So it's a legit kaiju that's stronger than most actual deities.
Yeah, it's also one of those things where, according to the monster manual, it says there's only one in existence. So every time you fight one, it's meant to be the same one.
Yeah, it's not a Tarasque, it's the Tarasque.
Yep.
And apparently the name is from French mythology.
Sure.
Yeah, which is kind of cute. It seems to be designed to specifically counter every attempt to make any kind of reasonable dent in it. Cannonballs? No. They just do normal damage. It's immune to that.
Magic. We've already established that magic don't do dick.
Yeah, magic don't do dick. I think all you can actually do is fire a paladin at it, hope that that the paladin survives and does damage, and then just time warp the paladin so it can do it again.
Yeah, it's one of those things where a Tarasque doesn't look like something that a DM would throw at. Like, you got to bear in mind, guys, if you fight a Tarasque, your party's going to be level 20, which means your side is also basically gods anyway.
Yeah.
So it is a fair fight, because if you've got 6 level 20 characters, you can probably think of something. However, it also does feel like this creature isn't meant to be fought. If it's thrown into a game, the DM probably intends for it to wreak havoc on the world, and you're probably going to be dealing with the aftermath, or preemptively saving villages from the line, as it were.
Yeah. There's more than one way to kill a Tarasque in one round, but it's difficult.
Well, you said it yourself. If a party takes down a Tarasque, chances are everyone in the party specifically built their character for the sole task and purpose of killing a Tarasque.
Yeah. And my closing statement on the Tarasque is that it's a fuck you Saurus.
Yeah. It really is. Like, there's no polite way of saying it. The monster's bullshit.
Man, how cute would it be to have a Tarasque that's like the size of a rat as a pet?
Not at all. I really don't like the design. It looks gross.
Yeah. Oh, well, fair enough.
But yeah, you said it was going to be your closing monster, but did you have any other in between before I jumped in?
No, that was my last one, because I moved dragons before it.
Oh, well.
I thought Tarasque would be a better closer than dragons.
It was also my closer, so you thought correct.
Yeah. Great minds and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, we'll get into our final 3. There's not really a favourite moment from monsters unless you can think of a instance where you used one to a great degree, so maybe that. Can you think of a favourite moment from Monsters?
No,
me either. Let's skip the favourite moment. Do you have a weakest link from the Monster Manual?
Yeah, Tarasque. Like, it's the strongest, most fuck you monster ever. There's no debating this. However, you're never going to use it. If you do use it, and your players are aware you're going to use it, they're just going to build their characters based around killing it, which, yeah, is annoying, but not impossible.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's not going to make for a fun game, is it, Rick? Unless you're filled with turbo nerds who just like numbers. Which is fair if that's what you get out of D&D. I'm not criticising it. It's not for me, but you know.
True enough.
But yeah, I'll give the weakest link to Tarasque. Whoever created Tarasque, fuck you. Which I'm pretty sure probably Gygax himself, right?
Maybe. I don't know how far back this stretch, actually. I didn't look into that, but yeah.
I mean, he was definitely around for at least a couple of versions because we know this isn't the first time we've seen the creature. Anyway.
Oh yeah, totally.
I digress. Weakest link, Rick?
My weakest link is to putting Tiamat into the Monster Manual or giving her stats in this edition. I think she's the only god that gets stats, and
well, there's a reason for that. There's a whole adventure book where she is the main villain that you have to be, so she has to have stats. But I agree with you, it's bullshit.
Yeah, it's one of those where yes, she needed the stats for that adventure. However, the reason that they've not put stats for every god in this edition is that in previous editions when they did that made it so that every god was killable, and you had entire campaigns going around going, oh, okay, I want to slay this pantheon.
Yeah, and I want to do God of War, but in this fucking version.
Yeah, totally. And it was even before God of War came out. It was like this was like early 2000s, like before PS2. And yeah, this was build a D&D party to slay a pantheon, possibly at the behest of another pantheon. Go, and then once you finish with that, you probably want to turn on the one that sent you to do it.
That sounds like it would be fun once, though.
Yeah, exactly once, because by the time you killed all the gods, you probably don't have much of a world left. Right, the world is probably going to end, and it might actually be the start of a sequel setting
where your guys are gods now.
Your previous guys are the only gods, and your new player characters have to live in the world that is to their liking and to their behest.
Yeah,
a little bit like Dark Souls, you know.
Yeah, a little bit, except you don't get to see the aftermath of that ever. But yeah, on the Tiamat stat thing, at the very least, she's not in the Monster Manual.
Oh yeah, she's part of the. She's basically in the book that she's in.
Yeah.
So
you got to give a bit of credit there.
Yeah. Like when I say Monster Manual, I mean like all of the printed stat blocks for things mainly.
Okay, cool. Cool.
I can understand there being something like Archlich Acererak being printed as separate to a normal Lich because he's a named Lich, for instance. But the reason they don't have stats for Vecna is because he's a god and you're not meant to kill him. He's meant to be a threat in the universe even after you've thwarted his plans.
Yeah, no, I respect that. Like there's the meme of punching Cthulhu in the face, but just because you punch him in the face doesn't mean you're going to kill him.
Yeah. Worst thing that can happen is he wakes up.
And then the world's fucked because you're an idiot.
Yeah. But yeah, we're going to get to our final one of do you have an MVP?
It's going to be Gygax in it.
Yeah.
Like I could
Gary Gygax.
Yeah, I could give the MVP award to a monster I particularly like, but much like with the Sentai episode, I feel like the person who made the whole thing possible deserves a bit of credit, because even though I don't know the specifics of whether he invented D&D on his own or if he was part of a team or whatever, but you definitely can't...
It was basically a duo, yeah.
There you go. But you can't deny that a lot of the iconic creatures, like the Beholder, is a Gygax original.
Yeah. And in that vein, I'm giving it to the Beholder, because there's nothing more iconic for D&D specifically.
They put it on the fucking cover of the Monster Manual.
And on the front cover of Zanathar's, because Zanathar is one.
But there you go. It's on the cover of 2 books that don't have the word Beholder in the title.
And that's only in this edition. There's even a fucking adventure called Eye of the Beholder.
Well, there you go. Like, the only reason I specify that is because obviously, like, the Storm King's Thunder has a giant on the front, but yeah, that story's all about giants, so it would.
Yeah. But yeah, that's going to be about it from us. If you liked the video, you've got the comment section down below, and if you're listening via one of our many audio platforms, you can send us an email. Where would you send that email to?
nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com. Once again, that is nonsensereviewuk@gmail.com.
Yeah, thank you everyone, and if you made it this far, as always, you are our favourite people. It's going to be goodbye from me.
Yes, and I just want to give you all a little bit of a reminder of we do accept suggestions, and more importantly, because we can quite easily dig into into the Monster Manual even further if we so wish. Let us know if you want to hear more, you know? We can make a follow-up episode. We're not opposed. Rick loves D&D. I quite like it. So, you know.
Yeah, we can obviously find something even weirder than what we found, but these were the obvious ones.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And, you know, we could always take that wicked dive into homebrew shit and see what fucked up stuff that fans have made.
Oh, no. Okay.
But yes, keep yourselves safe and keep yourselves happy, guys. We'll see y'all again next week.
Bye.